I've never been a skeptic in the power of AI to transform everything. What I've been concerned about and continue to be is what it's going to mean for society in general.
Tom Lee emphasizes the importance of owning top-performing companies like Apple and Nvidia, highlighting their resilience across market cycles. He mentions that investors should focus on key themes like AI, cybersecurity, and energy security, which form the foundation of his granny shots strategy. Lee also points out the potential for small-cap stocks to perform well, especially if the Federal Reserve signals lower interest rates, providing tailwinds for cyclical stocks. Jim Cramer delves into the AI revolution, particularly focusing on Nvidia's role in advancing the technology. He discusses the transformative potential of AI and how companies like Nvidia are pushing boundaries in areas like self-driving cars and robotics. Cramer also touches on the growing public-private partnerships surrounding AI and the massive investments required to build neural networks and data centers, emphasizing the endless demand for AI-driven solutions. Joseph Moore, a senior semiconductor analyst at Morgan Stanley, discusses Nvidia's recent market performance, noting its resilience despite a sell-off following earnings. He highlights Nvidia's strong demand and product cycles, emphasizing that the company's fundamentals remain robust. Moore points out that while there may be short-term fluctuations in gross margins, the overall growth prospects for Nvidia remain solid, with new products like Blackwell expected to drive further momentum over the next 12 months.
We saw a big comeback for Nvidia. We saw really some continued flexing strength from the likes of Apple, which is now, I would say, firmly on top in the market cap race, such as it is. And then we've seen small caps struggle more than some might have hoped, though today is an exception. Which is more influential in this market?
They're both important, and they reflect different, investor views. I think you still always want to own the best companies in the most important themes. I mean, that's Nvidia and that's Apple. And they're going to really work over any cycle. But when the market begins to believe the Fed is going to move rates back towards neutral, and that's both cost of money, mortgages, auto loan rates, these are really big tailwinds for cyclical stocks and small caps in particular. So I think that's why I'd still want to make a very educated bet with high probability that small caps could do very well the next 12 months, and even between now and year end.
It's been a while since we've talked about your granny shots. Remind us what your thesis is behind some of these stocks that you like.
Yes. Well, Granny Shots is built on the idea that there are themes like secular drivers of an economy. And our original Granny Shot model looked at AI, cybersecurity, energy security, millennials as a generation. And then we want to own the best stocks in those themes. And that's really what was the genesis of the Granny Shots. And the names like Nvidia, Apple, Nvidia has been in that list since 2019. So I think it's always important for investors not to be trading the best names, but to really find the best companies and hold them for the cycle.
Okay, good reminder.
Jensen Huang's comments at Goldman, the Oracle.
Also our exclusive interview outside of the White House. That was killer.
Everything you and I went through, of course, Larry Ellison had to say on that Oracle conference call, and everything that came out of the Oracle numbers. Microsoft as well presenting at Goldman Sachs and Communicopia also. Yeah. So focused in terms of AI and all the opportunity there. And so,
are you more of a believer or you've been a skeptic?
Well, no. I've never been a skeptic in the power of AI to transform everything. What I've been concerned about and continue to be is what it's going to mean for society in general. I'm not a skeptic on what's going to ultimately happen. Right. There are still different points of view. One is held more by the Sequoia camp, which we all started talking about earlier this summer with that first report from Sequoia talking and questioning about the return on invested capital from all these hyperscalers, and whether it would all find its way into apps eventually, or how this is all going to play out from a value proposition. But whether or not this is going to transform everything, no, I'm not a skeptic about that, Jim.
You're not. Good, because...
And I haven't been. You know that.
Yeah, it's funny. When you speak to Jensen Huang, what he says is, this has been out called for like 18 months and it's supposed to cure cancer. I asked myself, does it cure cancer? And you're like, pause for a second to explain that that's not the point. It's about getting data instantly.
Nvidia hit a rough patch after it posted results in mid-August, but this week the stock is up roughly 15%. Joining us right now for more on the company and the sector is Joseph Moore, Morgan Stanley's senior semiconductor analyst. And let me just ask you, Joseph, what happened this week? What's pushing the momentum one direction or the other on this stock?
Yeah, I think for me, the bigger surprise was what happened in the prior couple of weeks. The quarter was really good. They beat by $2 billion, which has never happened until Nvidia started doing it a year and a half ago. And I understand they're wrestling with these expectations issues. And there's some gross margin questions that came about, but I was really surprised at the sell-off. This is our top pick. Demand is very, very strong. And, at this point, focusing on the sort of product cycles and things like that, it's very important. We want to see the company execute to that. But really, the key issue is just the strength of the business. And we heard that from Jensen this week at a conference. We've heard that from a number now of significant executives on the customer side, how much they're committed to these workloads. So I think this is still, a very compelling story. And again, to me, I don't know exactly why it was up this week. I don't know why it was down so much last week. But the stock is very reasonably valued with very good growth prospects here going forward.
So the stock's just under 120. You've got a $150 price target on it. What's the time frame for that? Because that's another 25% increase, even if you think that they could have a little bit of a rougher time over the next few quarters.
Yeah, look, it's a 12-month price target. And, I think that they have a very strong 12-month window ahead of us. The new products that they're shipping, Blackwell, are effectively, accounted for through 2025. So, the question becomes kind of growth thereafter. And when that's the debate, it gets a little bit harder for the stock to work. For me, I like the stock best when there are these near-term issues that they're kind of working through, because I have a lot of faith in just how strong this business is. And so, you've seen this a couple of times now over the last year and a half. You saw lead times come down in the early part of this year. People sold the stock on that. When there was concern that Blackwell was almost too good and we'd have this kind of pause in Hopper sales, that drew down the stock. Then we had the delay. All those things sort of are great setups because, you're selling picks and shovels into a gold rush. And the strength of the gold rush is kind of the main thing here. It doesn't, the new products are really important and I want to get them out. But, it doesn't really change how good these numbers are.
Nvidia, Qualcomm, perhaps even amongst others. Why does the chip trade still feel like it could have upside from here?
Two reasons: the cycle and the secular story. And when those two come together, Dom, it's pretty powerful. So the secular story here is obviously the AI advent on chips, and that's where you're seeing me in Nvidia, Qualcomm, which is for the edge computing of AI applications, and Applied Materials, which is filling out the equipment for these new semiconductor fabrication plants that need to be building these AI chips. But on the other side, the cycle, I think, is intact. This is what you just said, Rob. I completely agree. We've had a volatile summer, Dom. You know that in terms of chips. Up until July, mid-July, these were really powering the market higher. It's been a little bit weak since then, people questioning the AI trade. I don't think that's where the weakness has come from, frankly. I think it's simply explained by the yen carry unwind, which still has been going on today. It may sound trite to say that, but I'm pretty sure that's what the source of the weakness is. Both the cycle, and by that I mean the global economy powered by the U.S., is very much intact for the chip sector, and you've got the secular story on top of it. This is not a place you want to be underweight. I'm overweight.
Big picture, the AI story, all the thematic elements of it, has it caused you to reassess anything or not?
Not really. I mean, and in part, if you believe in where AI is going and the idea that AI, at some point, whether it's 3, 4, 5 years out, is going to provide us with, superhuman intelligence, all of the CapEx that's being spent today is wholeheartedly justifiable.
In conclusion, Tom Lee underscores the significance of owning high-performing companies such as Apple and Nvidia, while also advocating for investment in key sectors like AI, cybersecurity, and energy security. He believes these sectors will continue to grow and generate long-term returns. Jim Cramer, on the other hand, highlights the profound impact of AI, particularly Nvidia's leadership in this space, and how AI is transforming industries like autonomous driving and robotics. Both experts emphasize that while market fluctuations may occur, the overall growth potential for companies driving technological innovation remains strong. Joseph Moore from Morgan Stanley adds further insight into Nvidia's market performance, emphasizing its strong demand and product cycles. Despite some short-term margin fluctuations, he remains optimistic about the company's growth prospects, especially with upcoming products like Blackwell. This collective analysis points to the continued importance of innovation and strategic investment in tech and AI as key drivers of future market performance. Do you believe companies like Nvidia and Apple will continue to dominate the tech sector, Or is there potential for other emerging companies to take the lead? How do you think AI advancements will impact industries beyond tech, such as healthcare and finance?